All right, Mr. D, let's talk a little bit about pre-emerge.
Pre-emergent
Yeah.
herbicides.
Herbicides.
That's right. A very, very useful and important tool to use.
I would agree with that.
For homeowners and commercial farmers. And, if you don't believe that, then I would encourage you to treat half of your front yard with pre-emergent herbicide and leave the other half untreated.
Right.
The problem that probably most folks have with putting out pre-emergent herbicides is, if they're doing it themselves, if they don't see any weed out there, they don't think they need to do anything. And if you wait until the weeds emerge, the pre-emergent herbicide is not going to do anything for the emerged weeds. Now, that's not going to say that it's not going to help you. If you apply a pre-emergent herbicide after weeds have emerged, it will stop any more weeds from emerging. But the ones that are there will continue to grow. So you'll have to mix a post-emergent product with the pre-emergent product to take care of your problem. The timing is important.
Yes, crucial.
Mostly in the fall, you put out pre-emergent herbicide in the fall of the year to control winter weeds, and then in the spring of the year to control summer weeds. And in the fall, when temperatures drop below 60 degrees at night, that is when you need to control winter annuals, and that happens fairly early in many cases. In the springtime, when daytime temperatures reach 65 degrees Fahrenheit for 4 or more days, that's when you need to put that out. And I'm reading from a publication that a friend of mine, Dr. Fitzroy Bullock at Tennessee State University has put out. It's called Lawn Weed Management.
It's a good one.
And that information is in here. He also has some really nice pictures of examples of winter weeds and summer weeds, which will help you. It is important to identify what your problem is before you go out there and try to treat it.
Know the weed. That's
right. And some examples of summer weeds are wild violet, spurge, white clover, horse nettle, green foxtail, sicklepod, yellow nutsedge, Johnson grass, crabgrass, buckhorn, plantain, carpet weed, things like that. Winter weeds, annual bluegrass is one of the toughest ones.
Now.
Thistle, musk thistle, Carolina geranium, wild lettuce, purple dead nettle, wild garlic, orchard grass, hop clover, henbit, chickweed, dandelion, and others. Many of the herbicides will take care of more than one species. A grass pre-emergent herbicide will not kill the broadleaf. The broadleaf pre-emergent herbicides will not kill the grasses that you're trying to kill. So in many cases, you're going to have to use 2 pre-herbicides mixed together. You need to make sure that the product that you use is labeled for the turf grass that you have.
Yes.
That is the most important thing, because if you've got put a grass material out that kills Bermuda grass in a fescue lawn, you don't want to put that out in a Bermuda grass lawn, right?
Right.
Because it'll kill your Bermuda grass. But there's a lot of choices out there. As with all pesticides, it's very, very important that you read the label.
Yes.
Very important that you properly calibrate your equipment, know that you're putting the right amount out there, because many of these type products, if you overdo it, they will kill the grass that you're trying to protect, or the lawn that you're trying to protect. So you don't want to, it's not a case where a little bit does a little good and a lot does a lot better. It's a little bit does a good and too much will kill your turf grass. But that's kind of in a nutshell. I know there are different formulations. They're granular products and they're liquid formulations.
Which one would you prefer? Which one you think would be the best?
Personally, I prefer the liquids because number one, they're cheaper. Usually, on a per acre basis or per 1,000 square foot basis. I can do a better job of getting a more even distribution out there. It probably takes a little bit less water to activate it than the granular products. Sometimes the granular products there are places that you need to use it, around flower beds, or there are places you can't drag a sprayer and really small areas. The granular products, most of the time you can put out with a drop spreader, a broadcast fertilizer type spreader, or even you know, the
The
spreaders
rotary?
that you put on your, you know, you hold in your hand,
Right.
or there are those that you
On your
strap
back.
on and put out. But I think there's a significant difference in cost. Granulars are quite a bit more expensive than the liquid products.
And the granulars have to be watered in, which is
They've got to be watered in.
Very-
Almost all of them have to be watered in, and a quarter to half inch of water is important with even the liquid, a lot of the liquid products that you put out. So the label will tell you that, and follow the label. Now, on the other hand, if you've got an irrigation system and there's a rain forecast like we have forecast, you know, in the future, within 24 to 48 hours, then you don't run your irrigation system, because too much water can be a bad thing.
That's
it
right.
can leach it out of the
Yeah.
root zone. And you know, you got, you know, pre-emergent herbicides, they don't necessarily keep a seed from germinating, but you know, when that seed germinates, it puts out a little stem and a root, and the pre-emergent herbicide, when it comes in contact with that, it stops it from going any further. you
yeah,
know.
usually
And-
inhibits the formation of roots. Is
Right.
usually what that is.
Right.
And sometimes the granulars are easier for people to use, and for timing too, with rain events and
Right,
things.
right.
It's easier to, because you can have it down on the ground, and the timing to where the water has to be on it is not as critical as it would be with the liquids.
It'll wait for you. It'll wait
Yeah.
for you a little bit. That's true.
So I'm sure, do you use a lot of the granulars or liquid?
Yeah, we use both,
There at the University of
but
Memphis?
granular is more of a way we're going to go, because we have, of course, we overseed a lot of areas,
Right,
so
so you
we
have to
don't
be careful.
put
Yeah.
any of the pre-emergents in that area in the fall.
Yeah, that's
Like-
important.
yeah,
If
that's
you're
really
going to
important.
oversee with ryegrass, you,
Right.
you know, or anything.
Or,
Right.
or if you're seeding fescue even, you don't want to put pre-emergents down there.
Right.
Right.
How long do some of the herbicides last before they have to be reapplied? And it usually will tell you that on the label on some of the products.
Yeah, and that kind of brings up another point. You know, probably, I don't know, many of the pre-emergent herbicides, they recommend doing a sequential or split application, and that extends the length of
Yeah.
coverage. And I don't know, 4 to 6 weeks is kind of probably an average.
It is. If you're looking at
think so.
trifluolin, it is.
Yeah.
But it just depends. I know the timing, because we have interesting falls and winters around
Yeah,
here, because
do.
we don't necessarily get really the kind of steady, typical weather that a lot of the other parts of the country are in. So there's a more opportunity for weeds to germinate. So to ensure that that doesn't happen, and the same thing with the fall and the spring.
Yeah.
Sometimes they will have 3 or 4 applications of pre-emergents during the year at different times to try to hit those windows.
And sequentials is usually better. And if you can go with more than one application.
Yeah,
One's probably not going to do the trick.
No, one's
No.
not going to do the trick.
No.
It's going to be multiple applications, and then two
One will help.
Yeah, one will help.
help.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not
and then a lot of that too depends on soil type, pH,
Yeah.
soil
And
moisture,
what you're growing
and
there.
what you're growing. So
Right.
good stuff, Mr. D. We appreciate that. Real good stuff. Thank you much. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. To find out more information on this topic, just click on the familyplotgarden.com link in the description.